How a misplaced eBay listing led me on a journey that ended with this talking station platform. On this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Hello again, this is Mike with another episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Here's how a random eBay posting led me to create this cool talking station platform, and how this project can easily be modified in countless ways to add sounds to your layout. So one day I was scrolling through my saved eBay searches and not finding anything particularly interesting when I stumbled upon a listing for a NOMA Talking Station that was mistakenly listed as a Marx item. NOMA was and is a Canadian-based firm that developed and marketed strands of electric lights, the Christmas lights that we know today. And in the early 1950s, O-gauge trains were popular, and trains went with Christmas, and lights went with Christmas, so it seemed only natural for the firm to develop a train-related item to expand their Christmas offerings. Their item was a passenger station, similar to many found in small towns across America. It included a simulated clock tower, 4 signs emblazoned with NOMA Town, and even a few figures. Continuing the Christmas theme, the slightly larger than O-scale stations were made with red or green roofs. At the top of the clock tower was a small button that, when pressed, activated a small battery-powered phonograph that played a station announcement like this one.
Number 28, Pennsylvania Broadway Limited, for Crestline, Pittsburgh, Altoona, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Newark, and New York. Sleeping cars only. Leaving on track number 2. Aboard!
NOMA made a number of different recordings for customers in different parts of the country. For the Broadway Limited, the Super Chief, and also generic passenger train announcements. Gilbert made a station with a similar concept, but the American Fkyer Gilbert station operated on transformer or track power. Since the NOMA station ran on batteries, no wiring was required, and the station could also be used with a Christmas village that lacked trains.
All aboard for Detroit, Chicago, and San Francisco.
I remember reading about the NOMA station some 20 years ago, and I thought they looked nice and the talking feature was neat. I had seen some at shows over the years, but they were always in excellent condition and commanded prices higher than what I was willing to pay at the time. On the other hand, the one in the stray eBay listing needed a little TLC, but not so much that it seemed like an impossible project. So I put in a bid and waited to see what happened. Meanwhile, I started researching parts and repair tips just in case I won the station and in case I couldn't get it to work. I found that replacement parts are available online. Someone even created a digital sound system to replace the original phonograph in the station. I also found recordings of the original records and many more cool gems at the Internet Archive site. Then the thought hit me that I could get a cheap MP3 player and broadcast any announcement I wanted at my station platform. I could easily switch between sounds from the original NOMA stations to Gilbert's announcements and to sounds from records made by Lionel, Colbert, or many other sources. But I discovered that most small MP3 players lack speakers or amplifiers. Plus, I thought the MP3 player would look a little cheesy on my control panel. So it was back to the drawing board. By the time some eBay sniper outbid me with 1 minute to go on my auction, I was on to other ideas. Then, while walking down the Christmas decor aisle at Walmart, I came across Christmas ornaments with sound effects. Press the button and you could hear Santa or Frosty or other holiday figures giving holiday greetings. The light bulb went off in my head. There must be a programmable device that allows DIYers to create their own talking plush figures, music boxes, and other trinkets, I thought. Then I could add the sounds with a simple button on the control panel. Arriving back home, I fired up the computer and searched Amazon. Bingo! There were several sound kits available, and I selected this one because it included everything I needed: the sound and the memory chip, the activation button, a speaker, and a battery holder for power, and all for under $15. I could probably buy the component electronics and build one of these for less, but that seemed like an awful lot of work for a $15 project. So then my package arrived. Opening it up, the box contained a standard USB to Mini Type B cable. This is used for loading the sounds onto your board from a computer. The rest of the unit came out together. I was expecting to have to make the button and speaker connections myself, but they were all pre-soldered and reinforced with hot glue. I loaded 3 AA batteries into the battery holder, turned the power switch on, and pressed the button, and some preloaded music began to play. The speaker is not loud, but it seemed clear enough for close proximity use on a train layout. There are no printed instructions, but there are directions on the Amazon listing page. I took screenshots of these for later reference. On a Windows computer, simply plug in the USB cable and the device will show up, in my case as Drive E. Opening the drive, I can see the pre-installed MP3 music file. I deleted this from the device. Then I scrolled through the MP3 sound files I had previously downloaded from Internet Archive and moved one file onto the board. By the way, you can add multiple MP3 files, but the device will treat them as one recording and play them all sequentially. You cannot scroll through multiple recordings as you would with a regular MP3 music player. On an Apple computer, there are some additional steps that are outlined in the online directions. By the way, I discovered that the sound file will not play while the device is connected to the computer. Oh, and if you get tired of your recording, you can always change it by swapping it out for another MP3 file. In the default settings, press the button once and the recording will begin to play from the beginning. If you press it again before the recording ends, the recording will stop. If you do not press the button again, the recording will continue to the end and then playback will stop. The online instructions show how to change these playback settings by removing certain components from the board. Be advised that these components are very small and some soldering would be required. Before I continue, if you're enjoying this video so far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that YouTube knows that you like this kind of content. Share it with your friends and neighbors, and leave a comment about talking stations or other projects you might use this device for. Now, back to the video. The board can also be customized to operate from a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, and the output volume can be adjusted. For my application, the default settings are fine. Since Type B cords are somewhat of an endangered species these days, as Type Cs have become more standard, I decided to keep my cord permanently attached to the board so that I do not lose it. This also saves wear and tear on the rather fragile Mini B port from plugging and unplugging the cable. To protect the delicate board, I placed it in an old audio cassette case that I had lying around, and I secured it with double-sided tape. Any container that you have on hand will work, even the cardboard box that the unit arrived in. A few holes in the case allow wires to pass through. I spliced some quick connects from my parts box into the speaker and button wiring so that I can pass the wires through the layout board and fascia more easily. I only need to use 2 wires, so the rest will be surplus. Also, I replaced the included button with a more robust model that I can mount on a panel. I added Velcro strips to the board enclosure and also to the battery box to secure them under the layout, but still make them removable if and when I want to swap out sound files. Speaker output can be improved by adding a cone, such as a bathroom tissue tube, if you have room in your project. The tough part is choosing which sound file to use, or should I record my own? Any MP3 file will work, so recording your own message can easily be done, even on a smartphone. I use Audacity, a free and open source program on my Windows PC. It has virtually all of the options available on a desktop recording studio, including noise reduction, pitch alteration, and reverb. While I am using the sound device to make a talking station, there are dozens of other projects that may be created. Instead of using a push button, board activation can take place using a magnetic reed switch or an infrared sensor, or even a Lionel 153C contactor. With the help of a rectifier and sufficient resistors, you could even use an insulated track section. Just a few of the ideas that I've already thought of include making a boxcar or a caboose that announces a greeting when activated by an uncoupling magnet and a reed switch. Maybe adding a "You've got mail" announcement to the operating mail car. Or perhaps adding sounds to the automatic gateman accessory, like "Watch out for the train." Or how about bell ringing sounds to crossing gates or flashers? Or countdown and launch sounds for your Lionel No. 175 rocket launcher. The possibilities are endless. Anywhere you wish to add sounds to a scene on your layout, this board can do the trick. While it would be cool to own an original NOMA station in good working order, I think I've stumbled upon an even better solution. It's inexpensive, it can be used with any structure, or really anywhere I would want it. It's interchangeable, and I don't have to worry about phonograph records and needles. And now my railroad's passengers have a friendly boarding announcement. Keep the trains running, add some sounds to your layout, and we'll catch you next time with more toy train tips and tricks.